I got this wild camping setup for less than £100. You don't seem to get a lot for £100 these days, so come along for a camp and we'll see if it's any good. This is the bag that I've gone for. It cost me £23.99, so it's quite a decent chunk of my £100 budget. It's a Toff Venera bag, however you pronounce it. It's got a zip across the top for the main compartment. And being a claimed 50-litre bag, I knew it would be big enough for my new tent, my new sleep mat and my new sleeping bag, as well as the other bits that I've brought along that I'll show you later. There's a separate compartment down the front there that I've got a few clothes and things in, with a mesh pocket as well, and then a pocket that goes down the front. We've got a compression strap up each side, and then this bungee cord on the front, 2 axe loops at the bottom, as well as these straps for carrying things underneath, 2 mesh side pockets, so I've got 2 bottles of Oasis in there and my water bottle in the other side. We've got a carry handle on the top, some padded straps, sternum strap, and some padded hip belt straps here. There's no pockets on those, and there's no frame in the pack either. You've just got this padding on the back. Quite comfortable so far, but then I have only walked about 400 meters with it. The main thing at this point is that I could get everything I need inside of it. My tent of choice is this. It's from a brand called Out Sunny. It's a 2-person backpacking tent with aluminium poles. It's got sil nylon materials, and believe it or not, this only cost me £34.19. I think the recommended price for it is £42.99, but it always seems to have some sort of offer on it on Amazon. I've seen it as low as £27 with a voucher. So let's get it unpacked. There was these couple of bits of foam in the bag, I guess just to stop the poles perforating it in transit. So these are the poles. We'll have a proper look in a minute, but I can see there's some sort of hub system there that they go into. Got a bag of pegs that we'll have a look at in a minute as well, and then the inner and outer are packed separately. So yeah, the poles are all connected with that hub system there, and then on the outer we've got these plastic clips to connect it up. So that's the poles clipped in. We can see we've got a vent there, and the same on the other side. We've got these little polystyrene things to hold that open. It's a semi-freestanding tent because obviously you've got to peg the doors out, but at this point I can position that wherever I want to. I've just flipped it over quickly so that I can fit the inner, and I can see here there's some buckles that it clips into, then there's some rings down the edges and one in the middle there as well. One thing to note is the seams on this aren't taped. They are double stitched, but there's no taping on there. Let's have a look at these pegs. I bet we can guess what they are like. Yep. As expected, the kind of shepherd's hook pegs that you get with most budget tents. There's a couple of guy lines here as well to be fitted. I might not bother with them because it's not that windy, and I know that it just really annoys people when I don't add them. I've pegged out all the corners, and then there's a pegging point in the middle on each side as well. I tell you what, for £35, it's crazy value really. It only weighs in at 1.7 kilos as well, so it's not stupidly heavy like a lot of budget tents. I mean, is it waterproof? No. Is it going to last ages? No. Is it alright for trying out a few times until you know that you're enjoying wild camping and it's something that you're into? Definitely. Let's jump in and have a look. Alright, we're in, and this might be where things start to fall apart a little bit. While I've got plenty of height to sit up at the minute, I haven't got my mat in yet. It doesn't look very long. I'll know more when I've got my mat in and I can have a proper lay down. It's definitely not wide enough for 2 mats, but it should be plenty big enough for one looking at it. We've got little storage pockets at each end, usual lantern hook at the top. Now the bathtub material does come up quite high, but there is a slightly worrying join in the bottom of the tent, right in the middle, and again, that's not taped. So we'll see if we get any upcoming seepage tonight. And the other thing is this material feels really, really thin. You can probably see bits of grass and twigs through it. So I'll have to be careful on that, but you've always got to be careful, haven't you? I did look all the way through the listing and the details on the Amazon listing and the website, and there was no reference to the thickness of the materials or anything. It just said it was a silicone coated nylon. It has got a ripstop thing through it, but unfortunately that's all I can tell you. The vestibule or the porch space is not great either. There's probably about 40-50 centimeters there, but the angle of this door is really steep, so you wouldn't be able to cook on that. You'd have to pull back the inner. Let's not nitpick, it was 35 quid. For the sleep mat, I've gone for one of the deeply ones that I have used before. This was 20 quid, and I got it in the blue colour because in blue it was £3 or £4 cheaper than the other colours, so that's something that's worth looking at as well if you're not too fussed about the colour of things. Obviously it comes with a carry case and a little repair patch as well, which hopefully I won't need. So let's get this blown up. I haven't got any flex tail luxuries tonight. The good news is it's so thin with so many gaps in it that it takes hardly any breaths to blow up. You've got the valve at the bottom there, and there's a separate built-in pillow at this end with its own valve as well, so you can deflate that a little bit if you want to make it a bit more comfortable without having to deflate the whole mat. Now this does fit only just sort of lengthways, but there is a bit of a angle on the ends, so for tonight I think I'm going to have to sleep diagonally in the tent. Sleeping bag was only $15.99, and it's this Milestone 150 envelope sleeping bag. So it's 75 centimeters wide, 170 long, and it says it's a 2-season bag with 150 grams of filling. It says 0 degrees C to plus 27 degrees C, whatever. It comes in this bag. There's no compression strap on this, so I really had to shove it into the bottom of my bag to compress it down and allow me to fit everything else in. So that's a little bit of a shame, but for $15.99 I can let them off, you know. Little carry handle on it there, little shoulder strap if you want to mince around the streets with it. I think I've had one of these before as well and ended up giving it to the dog. As you would expect, really, really thin. There's a massive thread on it there already. So we'll see how we get on in there tonight. It's meant to be 10 degrees overnight, so might be alright. I have bought my down jacket, a beanie hat and an extra pair of socks to put on if I do get cold later. And that's another thing to keep in mind if you are, again, just getting started while camping or trying it out for the first time. A lot of people get obsessed with temperature ratings on gear, but you can buy cheaper stuff with a higher temperature rating and just bring some extra clothes along to keep yourself warm. Everybody's got jumpers and thick socks and things at home. Just bring some of those along, and if you do start to feel the cold, put them on. Everybody sleeps differently as well and is comfortable at different temperatures, so an actual number rating isn't always that helpful. You need to experiment and learn what works for you and what ratings you feel comfortable at. The only other thing I bought is my hygiene kit. So I've got a toilet trowel in here and a little bit of first aid stuff, some plasters, some toilet roll and all that kind of stuff. And that's literally it. I haven't bought a stove either because part of this camp is about keeping things simple. I wanted to keep under that £100 budget. And for your first camp or couple of camps, you're going to have enough to worry about with setting up the tent, finding the right pitch and all that kind of stuff without having to worry about a stove and cooking. If you do really want a stove and it's going to be part of the experience for you, you can pick up a set for about 20 quid off Amazon that includes the stove, the pans and everything you need to get started, other than the gas canister that you'll need, so you can grab those from Go Outdoors or anywhere like that really. So for tonight I've just bought basically a meal deal, a ham and cheese sandwich. Ham and cheese because it's obviously the king of sandwiches, second only to a fish finger sandwich. And then I've just put a few bits in a Ziploc sandwich bag. So I've got a couple of packs of hula hoops in there, some chocolate raisins and then a couple of cereal bars for the morning. So all in, this setup cost me £94.98. So I'm like £5 under my £100 budget. I got everything off Amazon, but obviously there are other places you can go and you could get a setup even cheaper than that. If you look around eBay, Facebook Marketplace, you can get second-hand stuff as well. But you can just get started with the basics like this and then add more gear over time. You will want to get yourself a stove at some point, and you'll probably need a head torch as well, and a sit mat or a chair or something like that. And then as the seasons change, you will need stuff to keep you a bit warmer, so you could start by putting a foil mat under your sleep mat. They're about between £5 and £10 I think. And then you could look at starting to upgrade stuff, so getting a insulated sleep mat or a thicker sleeping bag, or trying a quilt. And you probably would want to get yourself a better backpack to carry everything in as well once you start to go longer distances. One more important thing that you need to bring that you've probably got lying around at home is some sort of rubbish bag or something to carry all of your rubbish out in. If you're just getting started, you want to get started off on the right foot. For me, the best bit about wild camping is this bit now. It's the bit that you don't see on videos and on YouTube. The bit where you're all set up, you've got all your gear squared away, and you can just sit and chill, take in the sights and sounds of nature and just relax a bit. It'd be a pretty boring video, wouldn't it? Just 4 hours of this. Ninja squirrel trying to sneak up on me and attack me. Shh. It's officially raining. You know what that means, don't you? I can put rain on my thumbnail. See, I definitely need to be diagonal in this tent. My feet are in the far corner. And yeah, my stylish hairdo's touching the edge of the tent. So I'm just going to chill for a bit now and then get some sleep. So we'll see how this kit does overnight. And we'll see how many extra layers and bits of clothing I need to put on because I'm freezing to death. See you in the morning. Morning. So obviously I've survived the night. I had to use my down jacket as a pillow because that built-in one just wasn't high enough for me. And then obviously it started raining just before I was about to get up this morning. So I'm just packing up a wet tent and heading out of here shortly. So hopefully I've shown that you don't have to spend an absolute fortune to get outside and have some fun. As always, if you made it this far, thanks for coming along and I'll catch you next time. Beans and sausage.